Hey, Exiles. Talkative Try here. I hope you're having a blessed day. If you've been in the belly of the beast for the past few weeks, you will have missed that Path of Exile 1's next expansion, 3.28 Mirage, launches in just a few days, and I will be playing it for the next 3 or 4 weeks. In this video, I'd like to discuss the League itself, the reveal, talk about my plans for the League, including what I am League starting, highlight a few creators that have been doing some awesome stuff in the Path of Exile space, and discuss the overall vibe of the Path of Exile's communities, because they're quite good right now. I'm really hopeful for the future after being in a bit of a doom spiral, I'd say, for about a month as I took a break from pretty much all types of content creation. But right now, I'm excited. League launches in a few days. So let's begin by talking about Mirage. Honestly, everyone, it looks like Grinding Gear Games is back to form. Like I said, if you've been in the belly of the beast for the past little bit, Grinding Gear Games has decided to split the Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 development teams in two. And now there's a dedicated group of people, developers, working on each, which is amazing for both games. And this league, Mirage, is the first product of the core new PoE 1 team led by Octavian, who's a fellow former streamer, and Andrew, who's been a game designer at Grinding Gear Games for quite a bit of time now. And it's ingenious. I've watched a little bit of discussion about this league, but here's the skinny. A Mirage appears on your map, and you're able to enter it, and it basically duplicates all types of content in the game and allows you to access special rewards for that pre-existing content. For example, Harvest. Harvest spawns in your map, Harvest spawns in your Mirage. You will be able to get a special type of Harvest juice only available in the Mirage. This is Grinding Gear Games asset reuse at its peak. They are adding new rewards to existing systems that have been proven to work while putting a coat of paint over top these systems and adding a new one to the game in the form of Mirage. There's new monsters using assets from Path of Exile 2. There's a brand new pinnacle boss. There's Mirage specific rewards in the form of coins, which allow you to add support gems to your level 20 skill gems. It's a lot, and I bet they were able to do it without a ton of development resources because in the background, and maybe the bulk of this new team's work, has been the overvamp of the end game. It's been completely revamped and overhauled. I realized I combined those two words right there, and we're seeing something brand new in Path of Exile 1 that's actually taking some elements from Path of Exile 2. They've dropped them into the game, and it looks sick. It's the perfect playstyle for someone that's like myself, an elk and go enjoyer. I never participated in the ultra sweaty, ultra juicy farming strategies that required you to use super specific scarabs, sometimes incredibly expensive scarabs, to get rewards from maps. No. Every time I play Path of Exile 1, I elk my map, I throw in a few scarabs to the map device, and I go. I don't even usually have favored maps. I just play whatever maps I get. Yeah, sometimes maybe I participate in toxic sewer spam to help myself get my 36 challenges faster, but I just take things as they come. And the whole overhaul of the Atlas and the endgame really helps me out. I am quite excited to see how astrolabes work, how it's going to feel to progress from the center of the Atlas. It's fascinating, everyone, and I really think they can use some of the ideas from Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2's Infinite Atlas, just like they dropped some of the PoE 2 ideas into PoE 1 for this league. So it all looks very exciting, everyone. If you haven't seen the reveal, I highly recommend you give it a go. That was a very high-level overview, but succinctly, they cooked. Lots of people are excited. I'm excited, and I'm ready to hop into the game on Friday as, let's do a little drum roll, slams. I'm gonna play slams. Last league, Keepers of the Flame, I tried slams for the very first time after pushing a self-made Cleave of Rage Berserker to tier 16.5 maps and hitting a brick wall. Well, it was more like a cirrus-shaped wall. I swapped to slams. I've never played slams before. I've been playing since Blight League. Never touched slams. Always knew they were great. Always saw them winning races and zooming to endgame first. But I always thought, slams, lots of buttons, pressing all these war cries. I don't want these big AoE things across my screen. So I never touched them. Then my Cleave of Rage failed and I swapped to Ground Slam. Exiles, I've made a mistake. Not playing slams all this time, huge error on my part, especially as a melee enjoyer, because they have that unga bunga melee feel without having the gimping of real melee. Usually it's very hard to get clear on melee, to blow up the many monsters that appear on your screen in Path of Exile 1. Not the case with slams, but they still feel like you are swinging a weapon, hitting something hard, and then blowing them up. I don't like the lack of feedback that something like a bow has in Path of Exile 1, or even spells. I love melee. I like Cyclone. I've played Cleave of Rage. I've played Bone Shatter many times. I've played Double Strike. I prefer melee in Path of Exile 2. I should have been playing slams a lot sooner. So I will be starting slams this league. Which slam? Any non-ground slam. Maybe I'll try to scale Sunder. Maybe I'll go for Earth Shatter. I think there's a slam called Perforate. Maybe I'll do Volcanic Fissure of Snake. Actually, I did that one before. There's many slams in the game. I'm going to try out one of them, and I'm probably going to play Berserker. I love that Ascendancy. Close second and third would probably be Slayer and Juggernaut, but we'll just have to see. If you have any advice for me, just let me know. Remember, I am not a build guide follower. I cobble stuff together from PoE Ninja, my prior knowledge, looking up stuff online, taking advice. So if you do have any tips and tricks for me as I go into slam territory, just let me know. And I'd love to know, what are you league starting in this Path of Exile 1 league? If you are playing, let me know in the comments below. And if you've never played Path of Exile 1 and you're just watching this video because you're a Path of Exile 2 enjoyer and you like my content, or you don't enjoy either games but you're just watching my videos for some reason, well, I'm going to talk directly to you after this next section. I would like to highlight 3 creators here and now, and the first is BlazeWorks TV. Blaze started out as a Path of Exile 2 only creator. He made a couple videos about hardcore and then created his own podcast, the Passive Tree Podcast. And I realized that I just said passive, but I'm going to keep it in. I'm just going to keep it in. He's been running this podcast for an extremely long time, and he's played a lot of Path of Exile 2. He's cleared the Arbiter of Ash on hardcore solo self-found, and he's pushed lots of builds to the absolute max. He hasn't played much Path of Exile 1, and in this league, Mirage League, he is deciding to learn as much Path of Exile 1 as possible, and he will be playing on Softcore Trade, the game mode of dad gamers, casuals, sweats, tryhards, everything, right? He's going to be trying out the real Path of Exile, right? So I would love if you guys would go over, sub to his channel, check out his Twitch. He live streams way more than I do, pretty much every single day. Give him some love, give him some support, shower him with lots of love, and see if he can learn Path of Exile 1 in the span of one banger league. The other 2 come as a duo in the form of Palsteron and Dreamcore. They just started a brand new podcast called the PoE Report, which will have 4 episodes every single Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 league. 1 before the actual patch hits, but after the reveal, and 3 during the league itself, which they review essentially what's been going on in the league, how their league starters win, any changes that Grind Gear Games are making, any gripes that they might have, so on and so forth. Both Palsteron and Dreamcore are awesome creators. I've talked to both of them at great length. Dreamcore was the very first person that I ever collaborated with, and I've spoken to Palsteron on the podcast twice. I've been on his podcast, Pal Talk, before, and he's just a great dude overall as well. And no, I'm not leaving out Garatha. Garatha is just the guest on the very first episode of the podcast, which is over on Dreamcore's channel right now. Yeah, by the way, links to everything I'm referencing will be in the comments below. And one more thing, creator-wise, I'd like to announce, so that I hold myself to it, that I will be continuing my lore series this league, especially since Kitten Cat Noodle now works for Grinding Your Games and is going to be packing tons of lore into PoE 1 and PoE 2. She's a narrative designer there now. Isn't that wild? It's so cool. Congrats to Kitten Cat Noodle. She's still going to make videos, but now I think there's going to be a little bit more of a void. And I really loved what they did with Keepers of the Flame. And as we learned from my last interview with Jonathan Rogers, they've been expanding their narrative team a lot recently. So I expect the world of Ray Class to just become richer and richer in terms of its world building, storytelling, and its characters. So look out for that one. Now, talking to you, a potential new player to Path of Exile 1, if this is your very first time playing the game, I recently released and then deleted because I wanted to redo the script, a video essentially saying you should try Path of Exile 1 without a guide, in particular a build guide, and I stand by that statement. I think you should always give this game a go first, blind. And if you end up hitting a brick wall, if you stumble, if you get frustrated, there are countless guides on YouTube, on Mobalytics, Maxroll, the Path of Exile forums, the Path of Exile build subreddit, the regular Path of Exile subreddit that you can retreat to with ease. So if you're a new player, just give it a go. Make your own character. Go in, fail, and if you fail too hard, go online. And I will recommend to any new player starting Path of Exile 1 for the first time in Mirage League that you try following a build guide where the creator is explaining things to you very thoroughly, is welcoming in their live stream, does updates to their build, whether it's written or video form. And I have 3 people that I'd like to recommend to any new creators right now. They are Localhole, Arrow, and Fearless Dumbo. All 3 of these creators are doing pretty different builds this league, and all of them are very attentive when it comes to questions about their build. They constantly give updates. Localhole and Arrow consistently stream over on Twitch and are very welcoming when there are any questions asked about their builds. Their league starters are in the description below, and no, they're not starting melee or slams. Finally, I'd like to close this out with a little bit of reflection here. Path of Exile as a whole just might be entering its next golden age. I know this is a meme at this point because I made that dumb video, right? But it's true. Both Path of Exile games are in a position to really succeed right now, and that's exciting. I haven't really seen the Path of Exile community united or happy like this in a really long time, and I am talking about the vocal online Path of Exile community right now. Everybody is very much looking forward to the future. Yes, a lot of people had problems with the economy of 0.4 for Path of Exile 2, but Grinding Your Games seems to have their finger on the pulse of that game, and I think we're going to be getting a melee class and a new weapon pretty soon here. And for Path of Exile 1, they've addressed many of the most prevalent concerns in the game, and they are aware of what players are now complaining about. The whole ground loot issue was addressed head on by the new development team that's working on Path of Exile 1, and everyone just seems so optimistic and positive. And as someone who exhibits that in every facet of his life, it's refreshing to see. So I really hope this trend does continue. I, of course, am not ignorant to the fact that a lot of communities go through the "it's so over, it's never been so over" to the "we're so back, this is the greatest thing ever" very quickly and more often in today's age. I really hope we stay in the "we're so back" for an extended period of time here, especially if Grinding Your Games deserves that praise. And I have been pretty adamant, as some of you are keen in pointing out, that they 95% of the time deserve the praise. right? I think that's it. We're going into a renaissance for Path of Exile 1, fingers crossed, and Path of Exile 2 with the potential of 1.0 released and getting a lot of its content in the next 3-4 updates. We're eating good as Path of Exile players, and that makes me happy. And when I see the waves of negativity or the little lightning bolts of negativity shoot at me, well, I just remind myself of that fact and all the other things that many of us have going well for them in their lives. Whew. All right, let's not get too real. This is a Path of Exile video. I hope you all enjoyed this. This was a little bit of a different style of piece of content, but it's one that I really wanted to make. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a comment below. It really helps in the algorithm. Liking the video, I think, helps even more than that. And subscribing and sharing this video helps even more than those two things. So if you'd like to see the channel grow and keep it talkative, make sure to do all those. And I will see you not only in Mirage League, but in the next video. Stay sane, exiles. Have fun. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.